Hello and welcome to the Etoft21sports Show for November 1st. How is everyone doing? My name is Erik. I'm the man behind Etoft21sports. You can find my work on Twitter at Etoft21, on Instagram at Etoft21sports_. We have a phenomenal show for you lined up today. My boy from Betfred Sports, former Western Michigan Bronco, Jason Silva, is going to be coming on. Him and I are going to talk some NFL. He's going to tell everyone about one of the best sports books that is breaking into the U.S. market, Betfred. And Gino, my boy, is going to be telling you what bet to lock in for the Breeders' Cup this Saturday. Let's see what Gino has cooking.
The big weekend coming up this weekend, Breeders' Cup. If you need any help with handicapping the races, getting all prepared, you can head to drf.com. I also have a couple podcasts out where I went through every single race individually with a different guest. Those will be available Wednesday evening for both Friday and Saturday races. Let's talk about one of the races. Race number 3, the Filly and Mare Sprint. I feel like there's a really good amount of speed in this race. If you look to the outside, Echo Zulu's fast, going to go. Lady Rocket has to go. You look down to the inside, you have Slammed, who's very quick. Edgeway has to go. With combinations of them, there should be a lot of speed signed on in here. I'm looking for a horse that can come from off the pace. I like Obligatory, who ran into some legitimate trouble last time out. Started to really make a rally, but the horse in front of her kind of bolted to the outside, took a really weird wide step, and it forced Obligatory right up kind of onto the heels and wide. It was not a great trip. She had to start and stop and then start again. I think a great spot for Obligatory to come running in here. Gets the off-the-pace trip. Obligatory, 8-1 on the morning line. Anything around 5-1 will make a win wager there. And race number 3 on Saturday, the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. Best of luck this weekend in all your Breeders' Cup races.
Guys, make sure you give Gino a follow. He's going to be going race by race. He has different guests on his podcast. He has podcasts coming out all this week. And also, I'm going to be on his podcast this Friday. Him and I are going to be talking about every single game, going game by game, giving our insights, telling you what DFS players we like. And him and I are going to be live Sunday morning on BTV's show 4th and Inches, sponsored by Betfred Sports. Speaking of Betfred Sports, let's introduce this week's guest, former Western Michigan Bronco, Jason Silva. Jason, how you doing today, my man?
Great, Erik. Thanks for having me on.
So, big sigh of relief. Phillies are up 7-0 right now.
Yeah, I'm in a little bit better of a mood than I may have been if the score was flipped.
So, the reason is Betfred took Mattress Max action. Why don't you tell everyone about what you have going on with him?
Yeah, sure. So we were lucky enough to get business from Mattress Mac back in July. Long story short, he ended up coming out on a jet to Iowa to bet with us, bet $1 million, bet $1 million with another book, then took the jet out to Las Vegas and bet another $2 million with another book here in town. So on that one trip, made a $4 million bet. Overall, Mac Jim is in for $10 million to win $75 million. So average price of plus 750. We booked him at plus 500 back in July. So I heard him at a conference saying he wanted to get more action down. Looked to the guys at Betfred, looked to Fred, and they were game. So we were lucky enough to get his business. I was lucky enough to go down there for game 1 and 2, catch some of the game with them, get some reactions from them. It was a really cool experience. We have him on the hook now, I would say, after being up 2-1. And I think the pressure has shifted quite a bit. He was really confident. He was shooting me some texts the past few weeks saying, get ready to pay him. And he actually made a video with me the other night saying, ready for Betfred's money. I'm ready to spin that back at him tomorrow. Looking forward to game 4.
Now, I have a Phillies future. I'm looking forward to it. May have sprinkled a little bit. Don't think it's going to happen after game 1. Nola winning the MVP, unfortunately. But, Phillies are looking good. I love Philly. And Betfred's breaking into the U.S. market. NAA86 is asking, when will Betfred be legal in Illinois?
It's a good question. Illinois has been a market we've talked about, but obviously we kind of missed the boat, right? It's kind of tough when you're a brand that It's a good question, but nobody really knows about, right? So Betfred over in the UK, we've been around since 1967. Personally, I found Betfred because I'm a big boxing fan. So for years, and I'm into golf, so I saw the Betfred British Masters they're involved with, and they're involved in the EPL with Manchester United, always have been. So Betfred's around with some big, has been around for a long time with some big organizations, respected organizations. So when they came to the US, it was somebody I want to latch up with. We've taken an approach of trying to get into markets where we have the benefit of being in that first wave, right? Because when you're going up against all these books that everybody knows from being on TV or transferring from DFS over the years in the U.S. market, it's a challenge. So long story short, it's been a state that we've thought about, and I think there still is plans, but I don't have a date at this point of when Illinois launch is coming. But definitely a state where we still have on the radar.
My boy David is asking, you're the man, what's my Betfred site? So did you have like a referral code or anything, or do they just go to the site and they can just sign straight up, or how does that work?
So what I would say, honestly, we can, look, we're still a book where we're in a book where we're of a size that we're not one of these corporate big organizations, right, in the US, and we won't be. We're still a privately owned book in the UK, so we like to do things on a personal level and be your local, so to speak, bookmaker. And that's who Betfred is. With that said, and where I'm going with this is coming off this stream, I don't have anything specific right now, but I'll tell you, if you come through your guy E here, we would we could set up an extra $50 free bet, I could say, into your account. So right now the offer is of bet 50, get $250 in free bets. You get $100 up front, and over the next 3 weeks, you get 50 each Monday is how we broke up our deal. I'd throw in an extra 50 for anybody that came through E and Erik here, and I would personally bonus that to you myself. So we could do something like that for you guys, just to put across the type of personal touch we like to give to our players, that we're willing to spin something up right here for you on the question.
Awesome. I'll make sure like David takes advantage of that. David's a great guy. He's actually comes on my podcast every week. We talk NFL or basketball.
Cool.
So before
Thanks for watching,
we
David.
jump into this NFL stuff, I need to ask you, after playing football at Kalamazoo, how much do you miss the best donut shop in the world?
Oh, Sweetwater's you're talking about.
Yeah.
Sweetwater's Donut Mill. I'll tell you what, I had I played for Coach PJ Fleck there. I was actually I was a linebacker, but I was about 250 when I showed up there at junior college. I was on quite the diet, so to speak, and I wasn't allowed anywhere near Sweetwater's with the sweet tooth I got. So as towards the end of my playing there, once I lost the weight, I was a frequent flyer over there at Sweetwater's. There's a B-Dubs right next to it, actually, over on Stadium Drive. So I'd hit the Sweetwater. I'd hit B-Dubs on Tuesday and Thursdays. You know, college kid getting an affordable, nice, good amount of food. They'd hooked us up over there, and then I'd sweep on over to Sweetwater's and grab a dozen donuts for heading home. So I miss that place.
David says appreciate it, so he's definitely going to be taking you out. So thank you for hooking my boy up. So before we jump in, those first time watching, basically what the show is we tell some takeaways from the previous week, 3 takeaways each, 3 bets we're looking to lock in. Obviously, there are some trades that happened today. I'm just going to throw some out, some of the bigger ones. I'll give my thoughts. If you have any thoughts, jump in. First one is Falcons traded Calvin Ridley to the Jaguars for a couple picks. I didn't know you could trade someone that was suspended for the year. Did you?
I didn't know it. I didn't know either, Erik. But I guess there has been, thinking about it, there's probably been some instances where it's happened. Now just think about it. Was Josh Gordon traded when he was on that list?
I think he was cut.
Was he? Yeah.
He was released.
Yeah. I wonder if I'm trying to think of some instances where that could be the case. Maybe on like a PD or something like that. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, I can't think of any off the top of my head. That's the only person that comes to mind of maybe that would be a recent situation.
I literally had no idea. Next one, the big one in my eyes, Chubb went to the Dolphins, helps that pass rush, helps that defensive line, helps stop the run. And when you have to one more game against Allen, more than likely a playoff matchup against Mahomes, getting to the quarterback's important. I think this is a great trade for the Dolphins. That defense has been underwhelming this year.
Huge. And it's been something that they were built on right under Flores. That was their strength, to get after the passer, havoc defense. And they've definitely taken a step back there. So Chubb is, I agree with you, a massive move. I didn't see any shift in the market here looking at odds on the Betfred end, but if you're a Miami backer, it's worth something. That's for sure. Getting that help on your defensive line, getting after that quarterback, and especially in I think a great point you made is here with Josh Allen. I mean, they're positioning himself there to try to really make a run here. So got to respect it. And if you're a Dolphins fan, you really got to be happy with the management with a move like that today.
I'm a Lions fan. We're talking off air where I grew up and everything. My boy Hawk traded for a couple picks to the Lions. My take on this is he's not going to be a factor in the offense. It's more to help because he's such a good blocker with Chubb and everything. So I don't know. Because Cousins, I believe, is a bottom third quarterback and throwing to the tight end. So I think it's just going to help with the blocking to get Chubb going. What'd you think of that move?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't see it, Erik, until right now, to be honest with you. My head's been so far into a few other things.
You're
here.
definitely invested in the Phillies game, dude. You got some stuff going.
Yeah, I'm so invested, man. And then, I'm like, my Brian Bennett, our COO, said to me, he goes, Silva, you're not playing this game. I said, don't tell me that. I'm in this game. I'm involved in this series. As I look up at it. Yeah, so I didn't see that, Erik. I'm a guy who, anybody that knows me, I'm on top of all that stuff, usually telling people about it. I didn't see the move, but I think that's a fair take you have there.
Nick asks, how do you feel about Hawk being traded to Minnesota? I think he's a zero factor in fantasy. I mean, if he has one good game, I'd look to move him, but I don't trust him. David chimed in, as a Bills fan and Denver resident, I hated this trade with Chubb. So that makes sense. So those are basically it. I mean, there's some other stuff like William Jackson was dealt, Nyheim Hines, Claypool to the Bears.
Where did Hines land?
Hines went to the Bills.
Oh, I'm a Patriots fan. I hate to hear that. Another.
Now we're gonna dive in.
Wow, that's a good pickup. I mean, for a team that's already pretty much complete, that's a heck of a pickup. Quiet pickup today to not mention.
Yeah, that's definitely going to help in the receiving game. Hurts my boy though. I thought I was a stud. I thought I was really smart drafting James Cook in all my fantasy leagues. Totally kills his value, which hurts me. Now we're going to shift into takeaways. Let's look. What was your first takeaway from the NFL Week 8?
From last weekend. Let me think about this one. Denver getting back on track. A pick 'em on the road. They opened up +3. Maybe they're not as bad as we thought they were. Or Jacksonville, maybe the regression's getting to them. They're not as good as we thought, with obviously a quick start that they've had. But I think was necessary. It saved Hackett's job. I mean, I think he's got a gig right now because of last week's W.
Yeah, I believe if the Broncos lost that game, Hackett was done.
Agreed. Yeah, for his career, that was a massive win. That was my first takeaway from last weekend.
Mine is the Bears are this year's Eagles, and we need to think about playing futures for them for last season and maybe certain matchup spots. You looked at what the Eagles did last year. They started running the ball 40 times a game. That started against my Lions. That limited the other team's possession, put less pressure on the defense, leaned on the offensive line in the run game, and put less pressure on Jalen Hurts. That's what the Bears have started to do the last couple of games. And Fields has looked a lot better. Commanders gets the Commanders 37 rushing attempts, 237 yards, 32 minutes time of possession versus the Patriots, 45 rushing attempts, 243 yards, 37 minutes time of possession. Against the Cowboys, 43 rushing attempts, 240 yards, 36 minutes time of possession. You look at these teams who they have DVOA against the run the rest of the year. Lions 30th, Falcons 26th, Packers 31st, Eagles shockingly all the way down to 22nd, Lions again at 30th, Vikings at 16th. I think this is a team that's going to have some market playing, and I think next year they're going to be in a really good position because they're adding some picks, trading Smith and Quinn. And you played on the defensive end. What's it like being on the field for like 40 minutes? Like, how does that wear on you?
Man, I only played the high level of college football, but and the physicality at the NFL is just a whole nother, and the speed's another level. But when you're game planning to see 100 plays, right? And let's just talk college examples. That's my world, what I can direct relate to. When you're talking about seeing a surplus of plays, 20-30% more than you usually see. Fatigue makes coward of us all, right? Like the old saying. So. Yeah, it's a different level of preparation. One, because when you see something like that and you're going to be on the field all day, it's a lot of snaps, a lot of different a lot of different sets to see and prepare for. And then when you see fast-paced, high-powered offenses. Sorry, I can't talk. It's been a long day. It changes your preparation, right? It changes your whole thinking. And like I said, when you start getting tired and start thinking, it adds another level to the defense. And I'll just say on top of everything else in this NFL these days, where it's very difficult to play defense, whether it's with the targeting or the defense pass interference, the holding, or even getting at the quarterback where you can hit them. I feel for defensive players in the league right now because it's never been harder to cover or to tackle than it is now. So that's a whole nother added layer on top of seeing an offense that's going to run a lot of plays and keep you on the field all afternoon.
And Matt brings up a good point. I mean, it's not really $1 billion, but they have a ton of cap room going into next season. So they're going to be able to add some pieces. I think the Bears are going to be that sneaky future team. Like I was able to get the Eagles at 30-1 before the steam caught on. I think they're going to be that sneaky team. And shockingly,
I like it.
David asks, is Fields start worthy in fantasy? I say yes. He's the 11th highest scoring quarterback, believe it or not, for the season. So I think Fields is definitely worth it if you definitely need someone, or in 2 quarterback leagues, Fields is definitely there.
Yeah, and you know what? For his confidence and progression, right? They're gonna, and they're probably gonna be letting up a good amount of points. They're gonna be throwing the ball. Like, with that said, they'll protect him when they're getting blown out. Don't get me wrong. So you're gonna have some. There's gonna be situations that happens, right? They get blown out and he's pulled early, and you're gonna be asking yourself why you played him. But there's gonna be other times where they're trailing, and it's gonna be close enough game where they're gonna still let him do his thing and try to spin the ball and build his confidence and build that offense. So. I'm no fantasy guy, but I think just looking at the rest of the schedule and where they're at as an organization and where they're headed, because I like the play, Erik, of looking on the long and the short for them. But I think also in the immediate, I think Fields puts up a lot of yards and he gets plenty of passing attempts. So I think, with his growth, I think he could be a sleeper play. And again, I'm no fantasy guy, but
Thoughts on the Spear22 asks thoughts on the Claypool trade. I actually liked it because I don't think Mooney's a 1. I think Mooney is a lot better.
Yes.
I think you need that tall receiver, that 6'4", 220-pound guy that could high point a ball. Mooney's too small. So I live by where the Chicago Bears training facility is. So I see all these guys at the Mariano's. That's a local grocery store here. Okay.
I know Mariano's. I know. It's an Italian grocery store. I love that place. They got the ribs.
It's a great place. Great place. I'm 6'3", okay? I'm a big boy. And I saw Mooney.
He's a little guy.
I towered over Mooney.
Yeah, I'm not a big Mooney guy. I remember when he was at Tulane. I remember doing some evaluation stuff on him. I was doing some scouting type of work at the time before I got onto the Betfred side in my free time. And I've never been high on him. I know people get blown away with his speed. I could go on all day of why I don't like that guy. He's no way near in any frame of mind a 1 receiver in the NFL. Like not even close. I think it's just a matter of time until, things settle, tides rise, and people get found out. I just think he's, I don't know. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be so down on the guy, but he's definitely a hype train in the sense of where people position him right now in the long term of the league.
Yeah. Second takeaway from week 8.
Yeah, so this one's going to be I guess I'll make that one third. Second is the Shanahan's just own Sean McVay. Absolutely own him. You just think at some point he's going to figure it out and the aggression's going to hit and the Rams are going to get over the 49ers. But, man, they just absolutely own that guy. And I have a feeling McVay just does not sleep anymore due to knowing that as well at this point.
I mean, just completely owned. I mean, just not even close. I like this 49ers team moving forward, and I'm gonna switch my takeaways. I'm gonna go with my third takeaway. I'll save my second one for last. I like the 49ers in at 14-1 to win it all. I mean, what we need to remember is they added CMC, great player and everything. But I think the thing that it does is it gives Jimmy G that security blanket, who's just going to be like lurking to dump it out of the backfield. Defensive line, they've been banged up. Bosa's coming back, Killaw's coming back, Armstead's coming back. Super Bowl looks like it's going to be going through Philly. They're going to be able to stop the run with that defensive line. I have a great position with Philly. I think it's San Francisco or Philly coming out of it. Offensive line is getting better, starting to gel more. Debo, is Debo. They got Kittle, who's, even if the offensive line is struggling, the best blocking tight end in the game. I love the 49ers at 14-1. I actually like that future in.
I like you. You got some really good value there in the NFC, my friend.
What is your last takeaway from the previous week?
Yeah, last takeaway was, this Bengals offensive line's got to be the worst in football. When Joe Burrow is just a matter of time until he gets injured if they don't figure this out. And to be honest, I don't think they're going to figure it out. I don't think they're going to be making the moves. Haven't yet. So I just don't know about that team. Offensively, it's just they put themselves in position. They're just not as good as we thought they were, I guess would be my takeaway. And that O-line is worse than we thought it was. And so much for that defense haven't let up a touchdown in the second half. Just not to get too negative because it's the NFL, right? Especially primetime games, it's almost like, hey, what do you think is going to happen? Well, bet the opposite because the opposite is definitely going to happen. Not often you see a favorite. I mean, think even this week, the Packers the other night and Cleveland last night, both teams, both favorites not covering the spread. It's just not to look into it too much, but man, that offensive line just got absolutely abused. It was tough to watch as somebody back in the Bengals last night.
Right as you started talking, Matt chimed in. What's wrong with the Bengals besides
So they don't run the ball, plain and simple. They pay Joe Mixon all this money to not dedicate to the run, and when they do run, they don't move people from an offensive line standpoint. Then in pass pro, they're even worse. That left tackle, is hopeless. I think I still could beat him. Like if you suited me up tomorrow, I think I could at least get a sack on him in 10 snaps. It's crazy how bad that offensive line is. And especially when you invest that much in a running back, I just don't know how you can do it. And then you run that offense you do. It's either shotgun you're passing or you're under center and you're on the ball. They have not figured out a way to been able to throw the ball from under center. Head scratching. We're partners with the Bengals, so I've gone to all the games. I'm somewhat a Bengals fan now. I'm definitely in the Bengal talking community now. Like I at least participate a bit and like absorb what they're saying. And I think it's pretty clear. That's kind of the echo around of what's going on, at least not to speak for the Bengal fans, but at least from what I'm hearing and what I see with my set of football eyes.
So, I was upset because I got the Browns plus the points and the mixed rushing prop over last night. And I'm looking at this. The Browns were giving up 5 yards per rush. And you're right. Where was Mixon? The guy that taught me all this stuff, he took me under his wing. And one of the first things he had me do is we went down to the NF, and this is going to prelay the offensive line, but I'm telling this backstory. We went down to Indianapolis for the combine, but we didn't go to the combine. We hung out at Elmo's Steakhouse, which is a steakhouse in Indianapolis. And the reason we hung out there is because that's where all the scouts went. Okay. So I am privy because through my guy, Brad, who taught me everything, I have these scouts number, and I was texting with this one scout, and he told me time the play that he holds the ball. And Burrow was routinely holding the ball for 5 seconds. He wasn't getting the ball out. So
this is at LSU?
No, this was last night in the Monday Night Football.
Okay, I got you.
It was routinely 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So my point is, I think it needs to be 2.5. You have to get that out.
Well, yeah. So I guess a lot of that's
kind of like the offensive line isn't doing a good job. I also think Burrow's holding the ball too long.
Yeah, that's a very fair point, Eric. I think the plays that are running have a lot to do with that. It's very one-dimensional. like I said, when they're under center, they're running the football and they're a shotgun, they're passing. I think, I don't know if it's how long they're developing the routes are or what, but just they're not in sync. Just that whole offense. But it's a really good point. I didn't think of as far as the time of the average play last night, because it seemed honestly like just from my remembering of last night, it seemed like he was getting sacked really quickly. So I'm kind of shocked by that number, to be honest.
My last takeaway: Pep Hamilton is doing no favors to my boy Davis Mills. I'm at my little desk right now. I have 3 jerseys right here that are autographed. Lion savior Matt Stafford. I love line play. My boy Vita Vera from the Buccaneers, and long neck himself, Davis Mills. Those are my 3 autographed jerseys in my place right now. Nice. And he's not doing my boy any favors. You look last year, I could make the argument that he looked better than Fields, better than Lawrence, better than all those guys starting. This year, everything is down. Completion percentage, TD percentage, yards per attempt, adjusted yards per pass. With a better offensive line compared to what he had last year, and you add Dameon Pierce, that's inexcusable. And I really think after they lose this Thursday, which what is it, 13 and a half point spread?
14 now 14.
I think he's out. I think he's gone. I think this was a bad hire. I think he's gone. Now let's shift our attention to bets. I have 3 bets. Jason has 3 bets he's looking to lock in. What are you working with, my friend?
Yeah, so I to be honest, Eric, you're going to blow me out in your handicap here because I haven't just put in the time, but I'm giving you guys a quick handicap of some games that I like, just based on where I think the market will head on them. I think playing off that Cincinnati game last night, I don't want to look too much into it, but man, I just feel like just from a psychological standpoint, they got to be asking a lot of questions and pointing a lot of fingers in that locker room today. This Carolina team coming home, it's a get right spot, you could say. Numbers at 7.5. I think up over a touchdown. I have to play that. I think Carolina will be 6.5 on game day. I think that's probably the right side of the touchdown. The number to be. If you're giving me up over the touchdown, I got to take the Panthers on the road. They lost that tough one last week, I know, but showed some life. I'm no PJ Walker believer by any means. I think he was only there because he played for Matt Rule at Temple, and now he's just a leftover. But fair play to him last week. Bengals defensive line. This is a really part of the handicap here. Bengals defensive line, which I didn't really mention in the whole offensive part in the last few minutes. That defensive line, they were getting just moved. And it wasn't even a factor of Chubb, right? It was or any running back for that matter. It wasn't a matter of that. It was a matter of those D linemen were just getting bullied around. And that'll wear on you. The way that they weared on the Cincy last week, I think trickles into this week. And if you're going to give me a road dog plus 7.5 right now, then I think the number is going to be under touchdown. I'm confident enough to say play that, and I'll lock it in out of good faith on myself after this.
My first bet. Now, there's certain coaches I love taking as dogs. Certain coaches, and then when they're favorites, I love fading them. Top of the list, Mike Tomlin. Number 2 is my boy Vrabel. 63% ATS as a dog, 56 as a road dog. Tennessee's defense, you look at, they're getting better. They're up to 10th DVOA, 15th DVOA passing, and shockingly, they're the best against the run this year. I know they're getting a lot of like flack because they're leading the division and they're giving up more points and they're scoring, but that's because that one game against Buffalo kind of made that out of whack. Yeah. Chiefs defense, only 17th DVOA. I think the Titans will be able to use Henry, run the ball on the Chiefs. And this is 2 things that stood out to me. Mahomes is only 40% ATS as a 10-point favorite. Reed in his time in Philly and KC, 44% as a 10-point favorite or more. Obviously, if Tannehill's out, this number is going to go up, I feel. I think he's going to play because of how Willis basically did nothing. I think this is a Tannehill number with a 13 in the market. So I'm going to be on the Titans. I'm just waiting to hear the Tannehill news.
I like that. And you know what that says when you read that in those stats off 45%, it just goes to show the market over exaggerates for those guys every time, knowing that there's going to still be love and back and forth no matter what you put the number. It just goes to say that, hitting almost at a 60% clip the other side, That's a really nice angle there that you might lean on until you see the market correct itself over the next year or two. But there's definitely some meat on the bone still, I would say, with that handicap, that strategy right there.
And David said, you know what, and he's right. You know, I think they ran the ball like 20 straight times, which is absolutely insane. What is your second bet?
Yeah, second play, team we might have mentioned earlier, but it really surprised at this. I mean, I know it's an NFC North or NFC West rivalry here, or rivalry. I don't know if that's right. Divisional matchup. Seattle's going on the road, man. I don't know what there isn't to like is them as still as dogs. They were undervalued last week, played them against the Giants. The Giants were one of those teams that just continually winning close games, and hat off to them. But with that's going to come some beatdowns as well, right? When you see a team maybe punching a little bit above their weight, getting a little lucky in cases like that, you know, just some variance, and they're going to come back to life or come back to planet Earth. And I think that's what we saw last week, the Giants. And on that other end, I think Gino's still undervalued on the market. Getting them as a road dog, I mean, I think they should be 1-2 point favorites on the road. So if you can give me at a plus money, just on the fact of playing the plus money, I gotta take a team, and I think it's a coin flip, and give me the plus side of that all day. I got to back Seattle. Pete Carroll's a good coach. Gino Smith's playing better than everybody else says he is, or the market says he is. And this is an Arizona team that 4-4 ATS, 3-5 straight up. I just don't see it. I mean, NFL is the king of regression, right? Everybody always regresses to the mean. A team who's 1-4 is going to end up beating a team who's 4-1. It's just always how it goes. But with that said, I think the division continues to separate with Seattle moving to 6-3 and Arizona curving out the bottom of that NFC West division, which is crazy to think. But then the next question is, how long does this whole experiment of Kingsbury and, you know, a 5'10" quarterback, Kyler Murray work out for, you know, and who goes first out of that? Not to get onto that, but I think it's Kingsbury. But I think short-lived time, Seattle on the road. Give me the plus money.
David chimes in. He likes it. Solid mindset playing the dog there. To piggyback your point, you know, I'm a big percentage guy. I look at trends, ATS, and everything. Kingsbury as a favorite. Care to guess that percentage as a favorite?
As a favorite?
Yeah.
47%?
38.
Huh.
As a home favorite, 31.
That is
31.
disgusting.
That is absolutely awful. My second bet is I'm going to the Jags, you know, plus 1.5. Anyone that knows me knows I love taking these home dogs. I'm not a big on this Raiders team. I was heavily invested in their win total under. They have one of the worst defenses in the league, and I really feel this is a get-right spot for Trevor Lawrence. 29th DVOA on total defense, 31st DVOA in passing defense. Also, I'm thinking this is shaping up to be a big Travis Etienne day. Raiders are 32 DVOA defending running backs in the passing game. They're giving up the 4th most receiving yards to opposing backs. And then just look at Carr. There's one thing Carr has shown as a dog, he's money, but as a favorite, this is where he struggles. 37% as a favorite, 29% as a road favorite.
Wow.
And also, Jags are on a losing streak, and you talked about the market adjusting and everything. They've lost 5 games straight up against the spread. Dogs in this position are 58%. I think the Raiders have some issues on defense. Also, am I wrong here with this thought process? With Lattimore out, how does Devontae Adams not have a bigger game against the Saints?
The only way, so when you say, I agree, and I love to play devil's advocate on this side. So my only thing to that would be it's another target they don't have to worry about, and you can play safety over him all day as well, or at least some sort of help from somewhere onto him because you have one less. Actually, no. I retract everything I'm saying. I got what you're saying. You're saying Lattimore on defense. How with him not playing on Adams,
with him being out and not being able to cover Adams,
and Adams getting to work, more.
Why are you going to Adams?
I got you. Sorry, I heard you wrong the first time. There's no reason, Erik. There's no reason. That's actually absurd if the market doesn't move on that. And that just goes to show how prop markets are soft. And that's why books are quick to limit guys who are sharp in props because they know it's a beatable market, to be completely honest.
Bobby asks, what's the receiving prop we're targeting? We absolutely hammered this.
Let me guess. Wait. There's a number?
There's not a number yet, but
Okay.
last week we hammered Kamara over 38.5 against the Raiders. I'm thinking Etienne's going to be somewhere in the low 20s. And for me, that's a hammer.
Well, 23.5 maybe.
Yeah, that's a complete hammer. Here's a little trivia question for you. And I love throwing these trivia questions out. What team do you think is giving up the most yards per game in the receiving game to opposing running backs? It's going to shock you.
Okay. To running backs. How about I just because you told me to shock, maybe the Bills?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Really?
Yeah.
Because they're so focused on that over the top, not getting beat, and keeping teams to get chunk play. You need to beat them in the short chunks. I don't know.
Why would that be? Single one. Now, I of course I played the Jeff Wilson one right after openers, and then 2 hours later they traded for CMC. That's the only one I haven't hit. I mean, it's been a gold mine just taking it. They play Henry. That's probably going to be 9.5 this week. I absolutely love that.
Okay. I like it.
I'll let you answer this question. Should we see Spear 22 asks, should we be worried about the travel from London for the Jaguars?
I definitely wouldn't disregard it. I'll say that. Definitely something to consider. But on that other end of that, something that I almost mentioned as a takeaway from last week is how bad are the Raiders. I mean, if they were playing anyone else, I would say it's a bigger concern. It is something to consider. It is something to consider, but I don't know enough. I don't have any statistics to back that, Eric, as far as what teams are coming off road trip from London.
The only statistic is I believe that the opposing team's team total is 7-2 to the over.
Really?
7-2 to the over. Jet lag, I just Googled it. It's a 10-hour flight. So that's definitely something to consider. But for me, I'll be honest, as much as it's a play on the Jags, this is more fade on the Raiders.
Same, yeah.
Last and final bet, my friend. What are you looking at?
Yeah, last play of the week. I gave you the Panthers, right? All right, so yeah, let's look at it. And I gave you Seattle. Last play, because I haven't locked this in. I'm just for full transparency. I haven't locked something in, but I got to make some plays, and if I'm giving them out, I'll back them. Man, can the Chargers get right in the road favorite? I think maybe Atlanta coming off that high of a win. I think it's just a matter of time till the Chargers get right and get rolling. Atlanta's punching over their weight. They're really outperforming the market. They're 6-2 ATS, 3-1 at home ATS. I think the market adjusted. They're putting them at 3 here. I think if you put them up over 3.5, these sharper guys are going to come in and hammer it. But I think that's a trend. That's going to be the trendy home dog of the week, and I think it's a loser.
Bobby asks, what's the other jersey behind Jason?
Yeah. So we got. I'm here in the Betfred office. We got a little Justin Gaethje down here. We got a football signed by. Who do we got? Roger Goodell, actually. We got a football by Roger Goodell, and then we got a Mecklenburg jersey, former Bronco, and then we also have our guy Rod Smith, who's done some brand ambassador work for us, both signed jerseys. A little Betfred merch. We got a Jermaine Marquez and a Charlie Blackman bobblehead and some Betfred stuff back here. Yeah, so I'm just here in our office. Our HQ's here in Las Vegas, right off the strip.
Spear 22 asks, must win for the Bucks this week? I think it obviously is.
Oh, absolutely. Last week was a must win for the Bucks. Man, and that was a shocker too to see them not respond. And it was kind of indicative of what you saw on the sideline and how they responded in real time against Pittsburgh. And they came out and put in a stinker last week. Man, if they have any hope of having a pulse and being a real organization this year, this is a must win. And if you're the Rams, it's a must win too. So, it's a 3-4 team going on the road. Both have been so overvalued in the market. Both are 2-5, 2-6 ATS. Both been terrible at home. Man, they're both similar organizations this year. Coming in just on hype, and they haven't lived up to what the market's looked at them as. There's been a lot of value on the other side of that, plus money left and right. So must win for the Bucks. Will they win? No idea. Rams are going in saying it's a must win too. I hate backing, and I hate people. I like to steer people off this, but a must win spot, never good enough reason to bet something for me.
Hate it. My last one. I'm going back to the well. Give me the Fighting Tyler Heineke's, the Commanders, plus 3.5. I know the Vikings are winning games. They are due for regression. Last week, muff punt by the Cards. Week 6, Bridgewater driving down, Waddle fumbles. That was a second fumble inside the 30 versus the Bears. Bears driving fumble, beat the Saints, who were playing their backups. Will Lloyd's double doink field goal attempt to win the game. Down by 10 in the fourth to my boys, the Lions. Campbell didn't coach like he was playing Madden. Lions win that game. Week 2, completely boat raced by the Eagles. Week 1, beat the Packers without their 2 starting tackles and first game without Adams. Defense isn't great. They're only 20th DVOA overall. But more importantly, they are 32nd DVOA defending of the opposing team's number 1 wide receiver. That's my boy, Scary Terry from Ohio State. Ever since Heineke came in, he's targeting him more. And the more important thing is they're using the play action. Wentz was overthinking, holding the ball too long. Thus, they weren't able to lose the play action. I love the Commanders here. I think this is going to rise just because I feel the Vikings are insanely overvalued in the market. I think I can get a 4. So I'm going to hold off, wait to try to get the 4. So, Jason, I think you're on mute, my man. I can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry. I think the number will get better for you as well. So I think that's smart to wait on that one. And I also agree. Vikings are overvalued right now. It's a good play. I like the Fighting Heineke's.
I love that. Jason, I'd like to you have a million things going on. I'd like to thank you for coming on, talking some NFL. If you live in Arizona, Colorado, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Louisiana, Washington, or Iowa.
Soon to be Maryland and Ohio. Yeah. Maryland and Ohio next.
Okay. Please go check out Betfred Sports. They've been doing this thing that I'm very jealous of. No juice.
Yeah. Last Chance Saloon. So on Sunday nights, thanks for plugging this. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And we're doing a lot of stuff like this, right? People are going to start to hear about us. You'll start to see through our content. Working with guys like Erik here and other people that you like, trust, and know that we are partnering with and starting to make content with, and start to build a community of our own here as a sports book and differentiate from a lot of these big corporate show books that you guys are familiar with. We have the personalized touch, and we have a long-standing history from the UK. So from partnerships with the Bengals and the Broncos, and then in the MLB, the Rockies, and another MLB organization coming soon, and some minor league teams locally in Iowa and Colorado. We're trying to really stabilize your local bookmaker. And so you'll see us a lot here coming up. I really believe so. From taking bats from Mattress Mac to, partnering with the Bengals and the Broncos and doing stuff like that. So Betfred is definitely a book you'll hear about, and I appreciate it. And one other state also as well that's going to pop up here last second is Virginia. We're late to the market, but recently got a license, and we'll be popping up online in Virginia here in the next few weeks, actually. So another place to get in on Betfred here nationally as well, and more states to come.
David says he'll be signing up.
Hey, you know what, Erik? And I just got off on a Betfred pitch there. That was just top of my head. That's how much I'm passionate about the stuff about Betfred. But Last Chance Saloon, what it is, sorry, I'll answer the question, is on Sunday Night Football, we strip away the juice on the side, money line total, for 2 hours leading up to the game. So whether you're winning a lot during the day or you're losing a lot, you want to get up more, you want to get back some. There's no better place to bet than Betfred for Sunday Night Football, with the fact that we're giving you the most value. We up the limits. So if you want to fire dimes at us, we're going to take your bet, and we're going to strip away the vig on both sides of money line side and total. So, yeah, I can't beat betting with us on Sunday nights. And one other thing we do that's on the front end of every game, Erik, I don't know if you know about, it's our double take, which is one of a kind, where if you bet the first touchdown scorer with us, which is a popular market, and your guy scores a second time in that game at any time, we pay out double. If he scores a third time, we pay out triple of whatever that is. So if you get a guy who's 20-1, he scores second time in the game at all, anytime, we're paying out 40-1 on your first touchdown scorer bet. So another cool thing we're doing that is definitely unique to Betfred.
You definitely got David's attention with that no juice, my friend. I know David well. He's all about that juice. I do have 2 questions for you. Number 1, Michigan. You guys gonna be going to Michigan at all?
Same like Illinois, right? We're late to the party. I would be surprised if we didn't eventually get a license, but nothing right now. I wish we could, especially with my ties to the state. I would love for that to be the case, but nothing yet, to be honest with you.
And I hate to put you on the spot like this. I love hats.
No.
I wear hats all the time. Can you hook your boy up with a Betfred?
Yeah, I can get you a couple hats. Yeah, we'll send you a couple hats, Erik.
All right, my man. Thanks for
I'll give you a couple hats to give away on the next stream as well.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Just shoot me your address. I'll send you a little package of a few things, a few t-shirts.
Awesome, dude. Will do. Guys and girls, make sure you give Jason a follow at Jason Silva _ on Twitter, and then also at Betfred Sports for the Betfred Sportsbook. Make sure you check it out. Gino will be next week's guest. Until next week, boys and girls.